Hi guys, so I'm up to week 5 now in my weekly editing series that I'm actually offering Asian photographers during this COVID crisis lockdown. So this week I've picked a photographer from India. I looked at his work and it's really lovely and one of my favorites so far. To my family. So it's obvious that Rajat writes quite well. So it's always a bonus when you can write as much as you can take photographs because you're able to articulate yourself beyond just images, and that always helps. So, like I said before, usually when I look at the synopsis, after I read it, I get a sense of what is trying to be expressed. I look at cues, word cues that will allow me to build visual cues in the way I edit. So certain things that pop up, random dreams. I like the last line, what if the house leaves its people? And the first line, all our stories used to start after having lunch. Very nice synopsis, write up. So let's have a look at the images. So Rajat has a nice wide edit. I'm very happy about that. 142 images. So that's great. We're off to a good start. So let's scroll through his images. Nice. So it looks like the images are a combination of family album photos taken by, I guess, different family members, and then images that he's actually taken. I like that. So I was thinking, this popped up at me. So this seems like a contender as the first image. If you look at my other editing video that I did ages ago, the 5 picture edit, it's always good to start with a surprise image. And I kind of like this because it also hints at the perspective of the boy taking pictures of the grandfather, the family, and the stories. So this sort of hints that perspective. It's beautifully seen. I like the gesture, the color. Yeah, so it's a ventriloquist. I think maybe the grandfather is the ventriloquist. So it's great. It looks like there's enough material. I like this. There's enough material to work with here. And it'll be an interesting exercise now. I don't think it'll be that easy because actually, there's a lot of material. And when you have a lot of material, there's many ways you can go. So that's the trick about having a wide edit with images, with enough images. If you don't have enough images, you can't maneuver. So, your options are limited. There's only like one ending, one beginning, one middle. Whereas if you have many images, you can explore different directions and then see which one kind of works. My impulse now, when I actually look through the images, is perhaps to pick only images that occur within the domestic space, within the house, where stories are told after lunch, to quote his text. So almost reduce the world down to that house alone and its four walls. Because essentially when we edit work or when we create a sequence, we are very much like filmmakers where we create a film and within that film there's a world. So as much as possible we try to keep everyone in that world without breaking out. So that's my immediate impulse to actually maybe just consider images that depict the domestic space and life within that space. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cycle through and start doing my first round of culling. So I'll begin. Okay, so I've done some culling and let's see, let's zoom out. So 143, I've culled it down to now 81, almost half. But I think there still needs to be a bit more culling to do. Let's just have a quick skim through. So like I said previously, I would cull out repeats as well. I also went with my first instinct, which was to try and create this world within the domestic space, the four walls in the domestic space. So the culling sort of had that in mind. I think there's still a bit more to be taken out because basically I want to give end up with a tight edit. Whatever I do in the past in the series, I want to give a tight edit, so when the photographers go ahead, it's tight enough for them to give quite a good idea of where I'm sort of seeing the edit go and where the project could go as an option to consider. So basically what I'm doing here is I've done an edit that is somewhat in a loose manner, in a loose sense, linear, in the sense that it starts in the morning when everyone wakes up, has lunch, then it breaks, then the edit flows into the night. So it's almost like a day in this house, in this domestic environment, in this domestic space. Also bearing in mind some of the text hinting at the lunchtime as being the point where stories are told, so that was something that I loosely kept in my mind. Also the note about the grandfather, let's bring that up again, the grandfather collapsing and suddenly the afternoon story stopped. So I'll show you the edit now. I start off with this image because essentially the point of this is to show the perspective that this is seen through the eyes of the young boy in the house. So I like this image. He wakes up and he's the playful one. So I'll play now. Number one. So it's editing in a a loose linear manner, but also by design as well. So now everyone's woken up, and it's lunchtime. I'm, queuing in all the images with the hands and the food, and eating. Then here, queuing in color allows me to progress into some of these quite quirky family album pictures, collaged together. I think he stitched them together. Then a subtle hint about the collapse with the white and the daub of the house. Then it transitions to night. The mood changes because all the stories stopped. But then it ends with a sense of hope and renewal. So that's my edit. Final edit of 52. So linear sequence, still playing on editing visually, but also trying to weave in a loose narrative, a day in the house of this, a day in the life of this household, progressing from morning to lunch, where the stories are told, and then the subtle hint of the little accident and the story stopping, then the mood changes, but then there's renewal at the end again. So I'll just quickly run through one more time. One. So I feel this edit is very different to probably how he envisioned the series, based on what I saw, the way he edited when he submitted the work. So there you go, week 5 edit done. Hopefully Rajat likes what I did and considers it, and it helps him in moving forward in the project or finishing the project. I'm not sure what the status is and whether his intention is to make a book or whatever. But yeah, I quite like what I did. So that's the end of week 5. I will pick another work for editing next week, which will lead us to week 6. So thank you everyone.